There are different interpretations that exist regarding the importance of either Plato or the Sophists to the study of communication. One of the reasons that there is disagreement is that Plato has many more writings, along with Aristotle, his pupil, than the Sophists did. The Sophists actually were the original teachers of Athens, and they spent all of their time instructing rather than publishing, much like people in community colleges today. As a result, they had many fewer of the manuscripts that remain today. Plato, however, had a wide number of dialogues that he published on a variety of topics. One of the dialogues that Plato had was called the Gorgias. That's Gorgias, and that was the name of one of the Sophists. And during the dialogue, supposedly Socrates has an interaction with Gorgias, the Sophist. And of course, given that it was, after all, Plato, the student of Socrates, who was writing it, Socrates ends up winning that exchange. Julia Wood, the author of the textbook, also identifies the Sophists, basically depicting them as teachers who are simply in it for the money and aren't concerned with the greater good of society, and who use a bag of tricks to persuade other people. This was basically what Plato's idea was. His concept was that teachers of rhetoric should be helping the greater good. However, the Sophists were simply people who were teaching people to persuade without regard to what the truth was. Plato believed that when you have truth, it cannot be refuted. The Sophists, however, had a completely different concept of what truth was. If no absolute fundamental truth exists, then that means that you don't have to refute it. In fact, you should argue it to try to find out what the truth is. Protagoras, the father of debate, was one of the Sophists who said for every argument there are two sides. Basically, the idea is that we find truth through the dialectical nature of rhetoric, rather than exploring, looking for truth through dialectic and then conveying it to others through rhetoric. These different approaches to epistemology, the study of knowledge, dictate the ways that we now view both the Sophists and Plato. Because Plato believed in that absolute truth, he is depicted often as the one who has the greater ethics, whereas the Sophists are depicted as not having any ethics simply because they had a different view of what the existence of objective truth was.